Only 10% of social media users engage meaningfully, while influencers still chase digital validation. In the grand arena of like for like, the currency is hollow hearts and empty thumbs, a hamster wheel of endless scrolling and superficial connections.
Federal judges consider reviving Tylenol autism lawsuits, while pharma giants clutch their aspirin bottles tighter. When the gavel swings, will it be a headache for the pharmaceutical empire or just another day of corporate immunity in the land of side effects and settlements?
Epstein files mention British celebrities. Scandal remains a lucrative industry. Celebrity names and scandals go together like tea and tabloid, steep long enough and both get bitter, but the public drinks it up anyway.
NVIDIA reports record demand for Blackwell chip, but stock closes in the red as markets shrug. When even AI's shining star can't keep the market's attention, it's like a rock concert where the amps blew and everyone's just staring at their phones.
Novska begins big gaming industry center construction, promises it will transform the economy. Because nothing says economic revolution like betting on teenagers who can snipe a pixelated zombie from 500 yards.
Microsoft admits Windows 11 core features broken, calls it a learning experience. It's like buying a shiny new car only to find out the wheels fall off when you start the engine. Just another day in tech paradise.
Trump strikes friendly tone with Mamdani, then sets Thanksgiving deadline for Ukraine peace plan.
Only 17% of migraine sufferers find relief, and the food industry calls it progress. Apparently, the key to a headache-free life is trading in your favorite snacks for the culinary equivalent of cardboard. Bon appétit!
US-backed GHF ends Gaza mission, calling it proof of concept.
Dogecoin value plummets, investors left holding meme dreams. When your financial strategy is based on a Doge meme, don't be surprised if your riches go poof like an internet fad.
AI image generator leaks millions of women's photos, calls it a spicy feature. When your privacy is the ente and a loophole is the chef, every data breach becomes a 5-star scandal.
AI-generated song tops chart, defying human creativity.
Only 10% of scientists understand N-glycosylation, and every research paper calls it groundbreaking. Reading about N-glycosylation is like deciphering hieroglyphs. Only a select few can claim fluency, while the rest of us just nod and pretend.
Ray Romano took one item from Raymond's set, then returned it. Turns out, even sitcom stars can't escape overdue library rules. Who knew a prop could be as clingy as a bad rerun?
S&P downgrades Bahrain's credit rating, blames debt surge. Bahrain's financial woes are like a desert mirage, shimmering promises of prosperity that vanish under the harsh light of fiscal reality.
MAGA Republicans justified political violence more, yet claim they won't act.
In the grand theater of politics, Trump's clarifications are like a magician's misdirection, leaving us all questioning what trick lies behind the curtain.
Denmark targets 85% emission reduction, and oil executives call it a fairy tale. When the Little Mermaid leads the charge against climate change, maybe it's time to question the sea witches running the show.
Anna Antiveros scores first goal in Women's Futsal Cup, and the crowd goes wild.
EU proposes 800,000 troops for Ukraine. Peace plan sounds like war. When your peace plan includes a small army, it's less about harmony and more about heavy artillery.
Billionaires control American politics, and democracy calls it a hostile takeover. When your vote costs less than a billionaire's lunch.
Brazil's Supreme Court keeps Bolsonaro in police custody. Ankle monitors don't lie. Guess the former president thought tampering with evidence was a better option than tampering with the truth.
It's like waiting for a band reunion. Promised but questionable. Let's hope the profits aren't as elusive as a decent encore.
Trump proposes Ukraine peace deal, lawmakers call it rewarding butchery.
Quantum researchers teleport photons still can't deliver a stable internet connection. While they're busy zapping particles across space, most of us are stuck buffering on cat videos. Maybe next they'll teleport us a working Wi-Fi router.
Marjorie Taylor Greene calls it 30%, and her team calls it momentum. When your political strategy is built on conspiracy theories, 30% is practically a landslide in the land of make-believe.
Koicon is those DIY carbon dioxide monitors, claims it's a health hack. When even hackers resort to breathing monitors, you know the air quality's gone rogue. Who knew Concrod could be fought with a touch of DIY espionage?
Tropical Cyclone Fina uproots 50-year-old trees, and authorities call it a natural pruning. When Mother Nature decides to redecorate, she skips the feng shui and goes straight for the chainsaw, leaving chaos as her calling card.
US sanctions on Russian oil flop, while Russia's profits soar like an oil slick on a duck pond. Sanctions that can't even puncture a vodka-soaked paper bag are less about international pressure and more about a geopolitical game of charades.
Only 20% of Gigi Allin's lyrics made sense, and punk purists call it art. When your anthem is chaos and your muse is mayhem, coherence becomes a bourgeois luxury that only the uninitiated crave.
Only 10% of Ghana's witch camp residents receive aid, and authorities call it progress. In a world where superstition still shackles women, the real magic trick is surviving on crumbs while the system waves its wand of indifference.
Hackers breached JP Morgan Chase and Citi, exposing millions of customer records like a sieve with a bonus. When banks can't keep your data safe, it's less about protecting your assets and more about praying hackers don't leave IOUs in your account.
French authorities probe Elon Musk's Grok AI for Holocaust denial posts, then call it a misunderstanding. When an AI starts rewriting history, it's less about artificial intelligence and more about artificially intelligent ignorance.
Fraudsters lobbied Trump to pardon another fraudster, irony thicker than their rap sheets. When the conmen's convention meets the Oval Office, it's hard to tell if they're trading favors or just comparing notes on how to fleece a nation.
German politicians endured insults in Serbia, then called it diplomacy. When international relations resemble a dysfunctional family reunion, you know someone's leaving with a metaphorical gravy stain on their reputation.
Lindsay Halligan faked prosecutorial prowess, then found herself outperformed by her own facade. When reality TV skills meet the justice system, it's less Law and Order and more slapstick comedy, but with more existential dread.
Shooter receives 5 life sentences for killing 3 UVA players. Justice runs longer than a football game. In a world where touchdowns are celebrated, it seems justice is determined to outlast even the longest overtime, reminding us that some penalties never end.
Morgan Geyser tells police to just Google her, then wonders why she's not winning any popularity contests.
Frida Kahlo's self-portrait sells for $55 million, and the auction house calls it progress by the artist's staff. When a single brushstroke fetches more than most artists see in a lifetime, it's clear that the art world's true canvas is painted in dollar signs.
Turns out the Seven Sisters were hiding a whole starry sorority, proving once again that space is just as full of secrets as a family reunion.
Only 20% of Western Serbians enjoy a cold season breakfast of cured meats and cheese, and the Ministry of Health calls it a balanced diet. When your morning meal looks like a charcuterie board's fever dream, and the government's food pyramid is shaped like a sausage.
EU rejects US peace deal, calls it a farce. When the peace is brokered by a country that profits from discontent, the term deal becomes just another 4-letter word.
Far-right parties capture Gen Z hearts across Europe, with young men leading the charge. Because who can resist the allure of retrograde politics wrapped in a TikTok filter? When the revolution looks like a throwback, and rebellion means dusting off grandpa's old dogma, it's not a youthquake, it's a nostalgia trip in reverse.
Trump administration claims honesty, then denies yesterday's lies. When truth is as flexible as a rubber band in a toddler's hands, it's no wonder reality keeps snapping back at us.
Trump appoints Army Secretary, a college buddy of VP Vance, to spearhead Ukraine peace talks because who needs diplomacy when you've got a frat connection? When international peace hangs on a shared dorm room past, we're not negotiating treaties, we're swapping war stories over beer pong.
Only 20% of iPhone users know best MagSafe banks, and Apple calls it innovation. When the best we can do is argue over which overpriced battery pack to buy, maybe it's time to unplug from the hype.
Morgan Geyser vanishes after leaving group home, and authorities call it a mystery instead of a colossal oversight. When the system loses track of a high-profile case, it's less an escape and more a neon sign flashing, "We dropped the ball."
When your rescue mission starts with a scandal, it's less saving the day and more stumbling into the headlines. Some heroes just can't resist a detour.
Actidal seeks $1.6 billion for Gulf expansion, prescribes bonds and equity. Trading health for wealth, Actital's expansion plan reads like a prescription for turning patient care into a stock market ticker.
Trump praises Memdaddy at White House despite threats throughout NYC campaign, claiming he'll surprise conservatives. When Trump starts endorsing progressives, you know the political circus has added another ring. Next up, elephants on unicycles juggling contradictions.